One of the most captivating and debated miracles attributed to Jesus Christ is the act of raising the dead. This story has been told countless times, passed down through generations, and occupies a central place in Christian belief. But can a man truly bring the dead back to life? Is this a fact or a legend that has evolved over time? What does science have to say about the possibility of resurrection? And how does this ancient claim stand up to modern scrutiny? The most famous instance of resurrection associated with Jesus is the raising of Lazarus. According to the Gospel of John, Jesus restored life to a man named Lazarus who had been dead for 4 days. The Bible describes how Jesus, moved by compassion, approached the tomb of Lazarus and, after praying aloud, commanded him to come out of the tomb. To the amazement of onlookers, Lazarus, wrapped in burial cloths, emerged alive. This story, along with other instances where Jesus is said to have raised the dead, including the daughter of Jairus and the son of the widow of Nain, forms a significant part of the Christian narrative. But was this truly a miracle, or could there be another explanation? To understand the resurrection, we first need to define what death actually is. From a scientific standpoint, death is typically understood as the irreversible cessation of all biological functions that sustain a living organism. For humans, this includes the heart stopping, brain activity ceasing, and the body beginning to decay. But in ancient times, the line between life and death was not as clear as it is today. People may have been mistakenly declared dead due to a lack of medical understanding or equipment capable of detecting faint signs of life. Cases of coma, severe illness, or even catalepsy could have led people to believe that someone had died when, in fact, they were still alive, albeit in a very weak state. Could Lazarus, Jairus' daughter, or the widow's son have been in such a condition? During Jesus' time, the medical knowledge was rudimentary. There were no advanced tools like electrocardiograms or brain scans to accurately determine death. It's possible that someone in a deep coma or suffering from a condition that mimicked death might have been presumed dead. In some instances, individuals who seemed to die would later recover, leading witnesses to believe that they had been resurrected. This leads to an important question. Could the so-called resurrections performed by Jesus have been instances where people were not truly dead, but in a state of near death? It is plausible that the lack of precise medical knowledge at the time contributed to the belief in miraculous resurrections. In the context of religion, faith plays a crucial role in interpreting events. For believers, miracles are divine interventions, acts that transcend the natural laws of the universe. The story of Lazarus, as well as other miracles attributed to Jesus, is often seen as proof of his divinity and the power of God over life and death. But for those outside the realm of faith, these stories raise questions. Could these events have been exaggerated over time? Were they symbolic stories meant to convey spiritual truths rather than literal events? In ancient times, storytelling often blended historical events with metaphor and allegory, making it difficult to separate fact from faith. From a purely scientific perspective, the idea of bringing someone back to life after they have been truly dead for days is considered impossible. Once the body begins to decay, cells break down, and brain cells in particular deteriorate quickly without oxygen. The human brain can only survive a few minutes without oxygen before permanent damage occurs. However, modern medicine has made remarkable strides in resuscitation techniques. In some cases, people who have been clinically dead, without a heartbeat or signs of life, have been revived through methods such as cardiopulmonary resuscitation, defibrillation, or hypothermic treatment. But these cases are typically limited to minutes or, in extraordinary circumstances, hours after clinical death, not days. Science has also explored the possibility of life extension and revival through cryonics, where bodies are frozen in the hope that future technology could revive them. While this remains speculative and unproven, it touches on humanity's deep-rooted desire to conquer death and live beyond our biological limits. The topic of resurrection highlights the ongoing tension between science and faith. For scientists, the laws of biology and physics provide clear boundaries on what is possible. Once the body has decayed, there is no scientific basis for revival. For believers, however, faith in a higher power allows for the possibility of miracles that transcend the natural order. The question, then, is not so much whether Jesus could have raised the dead according to science, but whether such miracles should be judged by scientific standards. Religion and faith often operate in a realm beyond the measurable, where belief itself can shape reality. Miracles for many are not meant to be scientifically explained. They are manifestations of divine will, meant to inspire faith and devotion. Skeptics argue that the story of raising the dead could have been a fabrication, a symbolic tale designed to convey the spiritual power of Jesus. It is possible that stories of miracles were added or embellished over time to bolster the credibility of Jesus as the Messiah. Ancient texts were often written long after the events they described, leaving room for exaggeration or the blending of myth with history. On the other hand, believers maintain that the accounts of resurrection are true miracles, signs of Jesus' divine authority. These stories have survived for centuries, passed down through generations, inspiring countless individuals and shaping the foundation of Christian belief. In the end, the question of whether Jesus truly raised the dead may never be definitively answered. From a scientific perspective, the resurrection of someone who has been dead for days is impossible. Yet, for millions of believers, these stories represent a core truth of their faith, a testament to the power of Jesus and the hope of eternal life. The truth may lie somewhere between fact and faith, in the power of belief to shape how we see the world. Whether the resurrection stories are literal or symbolic, they continue to inspire, challenge, and intrigue people across the world. Science may never fully explain miracles, but the human need for stories of hope, life, and the triumph over death remains as strong as ever. In the end, perhaps the most important question is not whether these events literally occurred, but what they mean to those who hear and believe them. For some, the answer will always be found in faith. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more content like this, make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Your support means a lot and helps us bring you more amazing stories. Stay tuned for more, and we'll see you in the next one.